Off to work I ride, off to work I ride. Hello, welcome to RevelatorAlf. Hope you enjoy the channel and the series of videos. So in this video I'm going to be talking about why I'm riding my motorcycle during lockdown. Now here in the UK, as you've seen in my other videos recently, I've discussed about if you're allowed to ride your motorcycle during this lockdown period. Now it is not illegal to do so, but many people who contact me or left comments seem to think it is. It isn't. And I made a clear distinction between an essential journey or going to work now on any mode of transport that you choose. Some have also talked about the moral question of riding motorcycles, and if you were to have an accident, then you put extra burden on the health service. Well, actually, I can quite categorically state that the amount of traffic on the road is reduced by almost 70% or something. So, and unless you actually ride or drive like a lunatic, the chances of you coming off your motorcycle are actually few and far between. So actually it's a lot safer to be riding right now, or driving for that matter, because there's hardly any traffic on the road. Now people always talk about this, you know, about motorcycles, you know, having a, you know, being more dangerous and everything, and I've never bought into it. And I've got to say this, I very rarely mention this as well, but I work in the emergency services. I actually work on the front line. That's my day job, and I've been to over 1,500 motorcycle accidents scenes of, and I've, you know, run a motorcycle safety campaign for many years, dissecting exactly what causes motorcycle accidents and the injuries. So I know all the reasons why, and there are many people who like to jump on the bandwagon and say you shouldn't be doing this and you shouldn't be doing that. But, you know, they kind of fail to realise some of the, or acknowledge some of the major reasons. Now, yes, if you come off your motorcycle, you're not as protected as if you're in a car. But, you know, lots of people on a daily basis have had accidents, crashes in their cars, and they have very serious injuries as well. Now, one of the big things right now with people not driving and not riding motorcycles, if they're on lockdown and they're doing their daily exercise, is they're riding bicycles. That is the next peak right now. People having accidents on bicycles, would you believe, and causing themselves injuries. So where do you take this? Okay, you know, you basically won't be able to do anything just for fear of having an accident. You can't live your life like that, whether you're in lockdown or not. So many people ask me and send messages saying, how is it that you're able to ride when all of us can't? And I say, well, the reason is I can still ride is because I'm still riding to work on my normal work jobs, and I'm taking all my usual routes to work. I'm not making any major detours, but I've just got a choice of so many different routes to be able to get to work. They're all about the same distance, so I'm just picking different routes every day. It's as simple as that, really. Now, many people would actually question, well, should you be riding a motorcycle during this time? Should you be using a car? Indeed, I've seen other motorcyclists put up petitions online, and they also work in the emergency services, saying that they shouldn't, they're not going to ride. They're urging other people not to ride their motorcycles as well. That's when you're on very dangerous ground when you start doing that, because then all of a sudden, when we come out of this, then all of a sudden everybody's going to say, oh yeah, motorcycles shouldn't be you know, having a go at motorcyclists anymore. It's not motorcycles, and it's not motorcycle riders, it's particular motorcycle riders that you've got to be careful of. And you know, it's whether you're riding without due care, without riding at excessive speed for the conditions, all the major factors without hazard perception, without a general awareness of what the road conditions are like. All these things come into account that cause an accident. So to say you shouldn't be riding a motorcycle right now just to protect the NHS is absolute nonsense, because then you shouldn't be driving a car. Now, if we're talking about essential journeys, then yes, as I've said in my videos before, I'm only riding my motorcycle when I'm going to and from work, or if I have to go and get something essential from a shop, and I can do it a lot quicker on a motorcycle. But these are essential journeys. Now, anybody can say, gee, you shouldn't be riding a motorcycle. I could be pulled over by the police right now, and they can say to me, you shouldn't be riding my motorcycle. And I would say, well, who says? Who says I cannot ride my motorcycle in the UK right now? And obviously it depends where you are in the world. There might be slightly different rules, but I've not heard of anywhere in the world where they say you cannot ride your motorcycle for an essential journey, for whatever journey, going to work, whatever. I've not heard of it, and I could be wrong there, but I have not heard categorically the law stating that you are not allowed to ride a motorcycle. Now, people seem to have jumped on this bandwagon a little bit and say you shouldn't be riding it. I don't understand that at all. I don't understand that logic at all. Okay, so, you know, I just want to make that case, make that case perfectly clear that my journeys that I'm particularly doing are to and from work whilst I'm commuting. Now, the videos I'm making, actually, I was trying to be a bit altruistic, if you will, if I want to use that word. I was just trying to think of you guys. If you're unable to ride your motorcycles, I thought I'd give you a first-hand point of view, ride-along experience, just to sort of keep you going through these times. You know, just to give you something to cling on to. You know, for we will get through this on the other side, and yes, there's going to be lots of bad times, no doubt, but we will get through this on the other side, and then hopefully you can get back to riding and start enjoying the roads again, or the trails, or whatever you're riding. So, you know, that's the reason for making the motorcycle videos, the recent ones, you know, the ride-along ones. It's purely just to give you guys something. Now, people seem to have taken that and try to turn it around and start saying you shouldn't be riding, how are you riding, almost demanding that I explain myself to you. Well, first of all, I don't need to explain myself to anybody. Second of all, I'm not breaking any law, and thirdly, I'm not being reckless or negligent, because there's no traffic on the roads, on any of the major roads or the minor roads, and also I'm not riding like a lunatic, and also the conditions are favourable as well. Any way you look at it, I'm not doing anything that could be perceived as being incorrect. Now, you may have your opinions, of course. That's entirely up to you. But having opinions is one thing, but then accusing other people of doing something wrong when they're not, that's, you know, you're being unduly critical, I would say. So, just wanted to make sure that everybody was fully aware of why I'm riding during this period, and why I'm making just a few motorcycle riding videos for you. I'm riding as I'm going to work, and I'm making them, the videos, purely just to keep you riding along. And I've said, you know, on all the videos before, I said, if you just don't want to listen to my voice, just turn down the volume and just watch the video footage of the ride. Or some videos I've just put music to them. Some I've left at full length, some I've speeded up as well. However you want to watch them, that's entirely up to you, but I try to make a little variety for you. But, you know, that hopefully would explain it all. Now, I'm sure I could make another video and then there'd be another person asking, why are you doing this, why are you doing that? you know, it almost takes the fun, I've got to say, it almost takes the fun out of making videos, I've got to say, at some point. You think you're trying to do something good, and then you kind of get criticised for it, for not doing anything wrong at all. Now, I know in certain parts of the country, people are being stopped now. They're being stopped in their cars, they're being stopped on motorcycles or any mode of transport. We're out walking by the police. The police are just doing their job, they're doing their duty, and they're determining whether the journey that you're making is essential. Are you going to work? You know, can you work from home? Yes or no? Okay, so if you can work from home, then you should, you know, you don't really need to go to work, can you? You just work from home. But if you can't work from home and you still are allowed to go to work, you still have a job, for example, then, well, guess what? That is, you know, an essential journey, isn't it? And anybody who says that any kind of journey that you're making is non-essential when you're going to work is actually talking out their arse, basically. So the next thing is then about mode of transport. I've discussed this on previous videos as well. There is no rule to say that any mode of transport, especially a solitary mode of transport, as you are doing on a motorcycle especially, is outlawed or dangerous. In fact, if anything, in terms of social distancing, in terms of footprint on the world, a motorcycle is the best form of transport. You're totally isolated from people, you're away from people, you naturally keep your distance anyway from other vehicles, what you should be doing in terms of your own safety consideration, and it's a lot more efficient way of riding. Now right now, or travelling I should say, but right now there's no traffic on the road, so there'll be no difference between driving a car or riding a motorcycle. So, you know, there's lots of things to consider, there's lots of finger pointing, I'm sure, there's lots of people, and that's why I don't tend to go online so much, because there's so much drivel being said by a lot of people. So you've got to kind of acknowledge what's going on in the world, yes, but if you are still functioning, if you're still making your journeys, then do it in the best way that you can and that you feel most comfortable doing. Of course, that's another thing. You've got to feel comfortable in what you're doing. And if you don't feel comfortable riding your motorcycle right now for whatever reason, that's fine, that's your choice. That's absolutely your choice. But to suggest that, you know, if some people are suggesting that you should not be riding your motorcycle on any essential journey, let's say right now, well, that's their opinion, and it's incorrect. So if I was pulled over by the police right now and they said you should not be riding your motorcycle, I would say, well, that's wrong, and I would quite categorically tell them, you are wrong. You cannot be telling me, you are not allowed to tell me that I cannot be riding my motorcycle. Now, I doubt that anybody, any police officer would be saying that, because they know better to be giving their opinion as a statement of law when it isn't. They cannot do that. They know they shouldn't be doing that. So I'm not saying that anybody won't, but they shouldn't. It's easily rebutted. So anybody to say that you cannot ride motorcycles right now is wrong. It's only on the journeys that are approved. Now, those journeys can be made by anyone. Anyway, look, it's almost like I've had to come out defending the corner here, you know, for riding my motorcycle, you know, to and from work. It shouldn't be like that. It should be that you're just enjoying the ride. It should be just that you're enjoying, you know, the experience, whether you like the video or not. Some of you have been putting the thumbs down on the videos as well. You know, look, there's no doubt I'm getting positive comments as well. That's really great. I appreciate those. But, you know, there are people asking questions. I've been getting emails as well from people asking questions. And it's fine to ask questions. There's nothing wrong with that. but there is a certain tone that has started to emerge from people. It's like almost interrogating and demanding answers. And so, well, you know, I've tried my best to answer as best as I can, but, you know, it comes to a point where you just won't answer anymore. You just don't feel the need to answer anymore. And I've talked about this before, you know, so if you know, people leave positive messages or ask, you know, questions, then I would try and answer as best I can. But if it's, you know, if it's negative, then you just won't bother anymore. There's just no point in answering that negativity. I mean, who needs negativity? There's enough negativity in this world right now. And I suppose this is quite an interesting thing that we're going through in terms of the way people act and the way people treat each other. I saw a very interesting video from Italy, which I believe, the other day. Basically, it was it was a writer who'd put themselves into the mindset of the virus. And the virus was telling people why it was here. If you ever get a chance to see it, it is very, very well thought out. And it's basically nothing to do with the virus. It's basically a reflection of how people are treating each other around the world, in your communities, online, how we shop, how we talk to each other, how we think, how we value certain traits of society, how we value you know, trinkets and, you know, just having possessions and all that kind of stuff. And it's a very good analysis of the human condition right now. And maybe we need to take stock. Maybe after this, we need to really start looking at each other and saying, look, there's so much negativity, so much nonsense that's thrown about at people in the way we treat each other, and maybe just a little bit more positivity, a bit more humility, and a bit more peace and love, as it were. Yes, peace and love, people. Maybe that's what the world really needs. Just get back to simple times, you know, family, friends, just, you know, just good times. That's what we need, and none of this negativity. Anyway, look, I'm almost just a few miles away from work now, but I thought I wanted to make this video to explain it. I wanted to combine it with a little ride along as well, so you can enjoy it. So if you don't want to listen to my voice, then you can just obviously turn it down and just enjoy the bends I'm going through here. You know, so that's it. Some of the videos, as I said to you 2 or 3 weeks ago, they're a little bit out of sync because a lot of the videos were made before the coronavirus really took hold in the UK and we started to have lockdowns. Always in the first week, especially the road videos, some of the earlier road riding videos. So, you know, that should be coming out of it now. Anyway, but look, it's an interesting position that we find ourselves in, no doubt, and I'm positive that no matter how bad this gets here for us, and we will get through to the other side, but it's going to take a long time. There's going to be a lot of tragedy, a lot of heartache in the meantime, both physically, health-wise, family-wise, and financially wise. There's going to be a lot of hard times ahead, but, you know, be excellent to each other, as coined from a famous film. Just be excellent to each other, that's all I can say. And say, if you do, you know, it's the old adage, I suppose, guys. If you really don't like these videos, don't watch them. It's as simple as that. If you don't like any of my videos, just don't watch them. You know, nobody's begging you to watch them. Nobody's twisting your arm to watch any of this stuff. Just don't watch it. If you do enjoy watching them, please tell your friends. You know, these riding videos are not my usual thing, so I'm literally just making these right now whilst we're started on lockdown. and hopefully just carry on. But I say, you know, I won't be making many more of these in the future anyway, but just thought I'd help you along. But anyway, I'll leave that with you. I'm gonna head on down the road now. I'm gonna keep the tape running and just probably put a bit of music onto this right now, the last bit. So enjoy, be good to each other, catch you on the next video, subscribe and all that kind of stuff as well. Check out the website RevelatorAlf. Lots of information there, lots of tech information on for the Harley Softails as well, so go check that out if you're stuck at home and you want to work on your bike as well. All right, catch you again now, bye. Okay, catch you again. Ta-da now.